This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to take a quick look at the HTC One on Verizon. Pretty much is the same thing that we've seen already on AT&T, only, well, obviously available on Verizon's network. We're going to look at it now. Well, Verizon customers, you sure had to wait a long time to get this phone, but it's finally here, and happily before it's obsolete. Still one of the top phones you can get, Android smartphones on the market. It's the HTC One. As ever, aluminum build, beautiful build over here, kind of unibody design, aluminum on the bottom, polycarbonate filling in here. Quality control is quite good, nice smooth edges all around. Gorgeous looking phone. Nice curved back, so it feels pretty good in the hand. It's a tall phone, even though it's a 4.7-inch display, not the largest on the market. It's still, well, it's a handful, so those of you with small hands do keep that in mind. About the same size as the Galaxy S4 and the Droid Ultra as well. And it's got the boom sound speakers here and here, large stereo speakers with Beats audio, so certainly louder, clearer, fuller audio than you're going to hear on other smartphones on the market. Again, this 4.7-inch display, nothing has changed from the HTC One we looked at before. 4.7 inches, full HD, 1920 by 1080. It's Gorilla Glass 2, and it's a Super LCD 3 display, so it's very clear, very crisp, natural colors. Those of you who don't like AMOLED displays or Samsung's displays because they have kind of exaggerated colors, this will probably suit you just fine, nice and natural. Everything's in the same place as the previous version. We have our micro USB port down here. Little microphone hole right there, front-facing video chat camera, some sensors over there, the volume rocker that I just hit over here. And generally speaking, it's not something that I do accidentally press. I have no complaints about it. Nice metal, you can feel it, so you can tell when your hand's on it. Up top, our 3.5mm audio jack. This is our power button, and it's also the IR window for the consumer AV remote, so you can control your home theater gear with this guy. And this side, nothing except for the micro SIM card holder right in there. It comes with a little pop tool. You push the little hole there and it pops out the tray that holds the SIM card. Battery is sealed inside, 2300 milliamps. Nothing, again, has changed with that. So, yeah, you're not going to swap the battery out on this one. If you need more power on the road, you're going to have to use one of those micro USB charging packs that you can buy. A variety of companies make those. We've reviewed several of those on mobiletechreview.com, our website. Inside we have the same HTC Sense 5, which is a very, very light overlay on top of Android. And this is Android 4.2.2 rather than 4.1.2 that we looked at on the AT&T version of this phone. So a couple of little things have changed. I'll show you. I can't wait to get them on my AT&T model, to be honest. You do still get blink feed. You can set this, however, any home screen to be your main screen, so you don't have to see blink feed every time you turn on the phone. But if you do like it, it's a way to discover news, your social networking updates, all that sort of thing. The latest pictures of alligators, clearly, and cars in my particular feed. Because this is a Verizon phone and Verizon and Amazon are tighter than tight, well, you get this Amazon widget right here. Don't worry, you can get rid of this. Press and hold, remove. Simple as that. However, there's a lot more software on here. And we'll start at the beginning. First, same as we saw on the one previously. I love this. You get the clock, you get the weather right there at the top of your app drawer. But here's our Amazon stuff. We've got Amazon Store, Amazon Kindle, Amazon MP3, the App Store, Audible, plenty of stuff from Amazon on board. And of course, we have Verizon's added applications too, usually called bloatware by most folks. We have accessories shopping right there. We have the mobile hotspot, which is really just a helpful application to turn on the mobile hotspot feature of your phone. My Verizon Mobile, so you can manage your account. Nothing too much to complain about there. Verizon ringtones, they're going to try to sell you ringtones there. Video calling, Verizon's voicemail. VZ Navigator on board, some of you do like that, I know. And VZ Security as well. HTC doesn't put too many of their own apps on here. We have HTC Watch, because everybody wants to try to rent and sell you movies these days. Otherwise, pretty clean. What they're really doing here is keeping it as light as possible. What they've done is customize the camera, the now well-known HTC Zoe for shots, and of course that blink feed, the little touches over here. Now here's something that I like. If you swipe down over here and you tap Settings, just as you'd expect with Android Jelly Bean, you get to have a couple of settings handy right here without having to go and dig your way through, unlike the version we saw on AT&T. And brightness is interesting. Right here, instead of bringing up a pop-up slider, it has little you can almost not see it now. See, it fills in the bars. So there's 3 levels if you're using the quick brightness setting, which is different. Now comparing settings here on the AT&T version, which is running Android 4.1.2, if I hit on the little settings thing, all it does is take me to the full list of settings. So obviously this is more expedient, more handy, like it a lot. And that's something that you're going to get on the Verizon version. Obviously this is a Verizon network phone, so we have EVDO Rev A 3G, we have Verizon LTE, and this is also a global phone. If we go to phone, we can see that. So here you can see preferred network mode, and we can choose global, LTE, CDMA, which is what Verizon uses, or GSM only if you're overseas. So world phone capable. In terms of call quality, every bit as good as the version on AT&T that we tested on GSM networks. Calls are nice and clear and full sounding, adequate volume. Data speeds have been typical for Verizon, which is to say good in our Dallas area. And we'll run a speed test right now so you can see. And we have a pretty decent signal of about 101 dB, which is about the same as we see on our Droid Ultra and a Samsung Galaxy S4 on Verizon. So very nice download speed there. Let's see how the upload speed does. Typically Verizon caps that a bit in favor of better download speeds. And compare that to our last result. This is even better. Our last result was actually done in a nearby town that doesn't have quite as good service. In terms of the rest of the software, again, if you're interested in the HTC One, you probably already watched our video review of the original model. Not too much has changed here. You get Chrome, you get the stock internet web browser. Adobe Flash was not preloaded on this. The usual full suite of Google applications, gallery, a little bit customized by HTC to make things look more animated. And of course, we have their custom camera application. And the 4 ultra pixel rather than megapixel camera on the back, which you've probably heard a lot about right now. Not as many pixels, but still very good pictures, particularly good low light. Now, for those of you who are trying to decide between this and the Samsung Galaxy S4, or maybe even one of the Droid phones that are on the market, or the Moto X, yes, if you're going to take pictures and use them for semi-professional use, and I don't mean you're a professional photographer so much as you need to capture, say, pictures of damaged car fenders because you're in the insurance industry, or if you're like me and sometimes you're at a trade show and somebody's showing you a brand new phone that's going to come on the market and you got to snap a picture of that to put it up on your website, you want the higher resolution camera. But for the rest of you normal folks out there who just want really pretty shots that look good enough to print at 5x7 and certainly to put on your Facebook page, this is going to do the trick. Pretty easy UI, switch between 1080p video recording and your camera mode right here. We have bunch of different colorization settings and effects, and they give you a visual example of that so you can see what that's going to do to your picture. Kind of nice instead of using words to do that. And if you want even more settings, lots of settings here. Scene modes, all that kind of thing. And we have flash control right up in this corner, and if you want to go to Zoe mode, you just tap that right there and you can shoot a Zoe. Tap to focus also. And you can see the camera filling it as it's shooting a Zoe. Now that's not really moving much, so it's not going to be a very interesting one, but otherwise you have a Vine-like moment with a bit of animation. And there it is right there. Again, we didn't move very much, but you get the idea of what it can do. Inside we have the same processor and graphics, and that's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 600 CPU quad-core 1.7 GHz with Adreno 320 graphics, making this Samsung Galaxy S4 II the fastest phones in terms of synthetic benchmarks. Honestly, either of these phones has more processing power than you can find a use for. They're more than capable of playing any 3D game, which is one of the hardest things you can do. They can stream video, they can play back high-quality full HD video. Not a problem there. 2 gigs of RAM inside, 32 gigs of storage. Obviously, there is no SD card slot anywhere on this phone, so storage is not expandable on the One. The front camera is 2.1 megapixels. It also has a backside illuminated sensor for better than average video chat quality. So for those of you who use Google for chat or Skype, will be pleased with the results. Has dual band Wi-Fi, 802.11 AC, Bluetooth, GPS with GLONASS, and NFC. And funny thing is, it works with Samsung's original tactile NFC tags, which Samsung's newest phones actually do not. So if you're looking to pick up some NFC tags for this, just go for the original Samsung tactiles. So how about video playback and audio quality? We're going to try one of our own YouTube videos. This is the YouTube player that comes stock with the phone, and we'll look at our Galaxy S4 versus HTC One comparison. We're at 3/4 volume right now, so it's pretty good audio, pretty loud. This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to do a smackdown between, well, the two flagship products available this year. Looks great, sounds great. Just about every country, too, and just about every nice area. Audio. Right here we have the HTC One. And we'll take a quick look at the web browser. Instead of looking at Chrome, we're going to look at the WebKit original web browser, and you can see what HTC's keyboard's like here. The usual press to hold to get to numbers and alternate keys. Nice big keyboard, pretty easy to use in either orientation. Just like the AT&T model, if you're playing 3D games, the back of this phone will get warm. Aluminum transfers heat, and you do have a fast quad-core CPU inside. So you can see nice colors and, of course, very sharp text with the LCD display being full 1080p. Really just a pleasure to read ebooks on. Battery life, once again, has been similar to the GSM model, and we've found that it goes through a full day on a charge quite well with moderate use. That includes phone calls, some streaming video playback, playing about 20 minutes worth of games. Don't tell anybody, but I do. And the usual social networking, email checking, that kind of thing. Just like the HTC One on AT&T and some other recent HTC phones, this guy is slow to charge. Don't know why that is, but they really go with slow charging. I guess probably to try to preserve battery life or health overall, but it takes about 4 hours to fully charge the phone, and that's quite a bit longer than the Samsung Galaxy S4 or the Droid Ultra. And in terms of size, we've already compared the original version to the Galaxy S4, and you know they're about the same size, and here it is next to the Droid Ultra. You can see they are pretty much identical in terms of size, and the Droid Ultra actually has a 5-inch display, just like the Samsung Galaxy S4, so the HTC One is a little bit bigger, particularly taller than average, because it has to make room for these boom sound stereo speakers, top and bottom. So despite the fact it's 4.7 inches, you're not saving hand space, so to speak, like you are with something like the Moto X, which is quite a bit more compact with a 4.7-inch display. Benchmark numbers on this are identical to the AT&T version. Looking at the upper 12,000s in Quadrant, for example, over 20,000 at Antutu, so like I said, one of the fastest phones you can find. One other little difference is that Kids mode is preloaded on the Verizon version. That's something that HTC has bundled before, and it's not the same thing as the guest mode, so to speak, or the multi-user mode that you have in Android. Really, this is something from Zoodles that gives you a little kid-friendly playground setup if you need that on your phone. So though the HTC One is several months old, I have to say it's aged really well. It's still one of my favorite phones. I mean, just such a gorgeous design. It feels nice in the hand. And my personal one, I've done things like drop it 3 feet onto the floor. It hasn't dented, hasn't broken, so it's a pretty sturdy phone as well. That Gorilla Glass up top helps. So that's the HTC One on Verizon. It's available now, and as ever, it's one of the top picks for smartphones today. If you're looking at high-end smartphones, it's hard to go wrong with the HTC One. Beautiful display, great build quality, good call quality too. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Don't forget to visit our website to read the full review of the HTC One and subscribe to our YouTube channel.